Bring in Joe Gamaldi, National Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police. He joins us now. I mean, Joe, that is the problem, is there is almost no accountability in the criminal justice system these days.
No, you're exactly right, Trace. There's none whatsoever. And the fact of the matter is we've had a toxic cocktail that has been shoved down the throats of law-abiding Americans. And that includes rogue prosecutors who are letting violent repeat criminals out over and over again, the continued demonization of law enforcement, and of course, the unmitigated disaster that is bail reform. I mean, look no further than the Christmas parade massacre. That monster was out on a $1,000 bond. He should have never been out in the first place. Or look at the idiot who burned down the Fox Christmas tree. I mean, that tree was still on fire and he was already out of jail. And you combine all these things and you can understand why we're having historic violent crime rates. I mean, murder is up 63% in Atlanta, 88% in Austin, 65% in Chicago, 67% in LA, 46% in New York, and in Philadelphia and Indianapolis, we are seeing the highest murders ever recorded on record. And I think it's easy when I talk about these numbers for people to get lost in the statistics, but these are people. These are fathers, sons, mothers, and daughters who deserve to have safe communities, who deserve to have opportunities to prosper. And unfortunately, those opportunities are being robbed from them, no pun intended, because politicians are too busy pontificating behind the microphone and pushing their radical agenda, and they don't give a damn about their communities.
Yeah, you talk about these are people, and in fact they are. And I know the murder rates are high across the country. I know the murder rates are high at record levels in Chicago. But I just want to very quickly go back, if I can, Joe, and talk about, you know, this new trick or this new, plan that these people in Chicago have to go into these older people's houses as the water department and bring them outside and then rob their house. Look, it's not on the life or death scale here, but again, these are people, and there are going to be zero consequences for the people who perpetrate these crimes.
No, you're absolutely right. And this is what happens when you perpetuate a culture of lawlessness like, the radical left-wing Mayor Lightfoot has done for some time in Chicago now. So now these criminals feel emboldened because they know there's not going to be any consequences. I mean, shocker, I know. And then they go out and they target our most vulnerable, and that is our senior citizens in our community, because they know they're going to get away with it. And the fact of the matter is the brave men and women of the Chicago Police Department, they're going to catch these cowards. But those guys are going to be out before the ink's dry on the paperwork. But don't worry, there's a fresh idiotic idea coming out of Chicago City Council right now. As an alderman just said, if you see an aggravated robbery with someone with a gun in progress, you should run at them and blow a whistle. I kid you not, I can't possibly make up something so stupid. That's what they think the solution is. But I assure you folks, don't run towards somebody with a gun. Instead, call the police, especially not in a city with 800 murders.
Yeah, the great John Cass writes about this every day in Chicago, talking about the Chicago way. And you look at Lori Lightfoot, and it's all become so political because, she, the same age, she's begging now for federal help. And then, under President Trump, she did not want any federal help at all. That's nothing but politics, Joe.
No, you're absolutely right. She didn't want the help when President Trump was offering it. And in fact, she went a step further and actually defunded the Chicago Police Department by $60 million. And during that time, they were seeing a huge spike in murders during that time. And yet she still moved forward with it. And now we're seeing it play out again this year. And now she's begging the federal government for help when really you need to crack down on the policies in your city that has led to this disaster.
And I want to bring this up very quickly because, police arrested in Minneapolis, their murder rate at 94. Right? They are 3 short of the deadliest year, which is back in 1995. That city, of course, is ground zero of the defund police movement after the police killing of George Floyd and the protest. This is a very small city with a very high murder rate. Even if you back these policies up, it's going to take a while to get corrected very quickly.
No, you're absolutely right. The damage that has been done by the defund the police movement and the anti-police rhetoric is going to take years to correct. And the people I really feel bad for are the poor people living in those communities who now have to live with this, and it's going to take years for us to get them back.
Got to go, Joe Gamaldi. Joe, great to see you. Thank you as always.